Hey guys, Monochrome here. Welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, welcome. Genuinely good to have you. Yes, I haven't completely forgotten about my book review playlist, although unfortunately I do sometimes neglect it. And today I'm coming at you with something I think a lot of you would be interested in. The title of this book is The New Complete Book of Back to Basics Homesteading Guide. Now, I'm sure a lot of you have given this some serious thought, maybe some casual thought, wanting to be completely self-sufficient, grow your own food, raise your own livestock, maybe trade or barter with neighbors who are like-minded, just getting out of the city, leaving the rat race behind, going out somewhere to rural America, and just starting up a homestead, being as completely self-sufficient as possible, because, and be honest, some of us have thought what it would be like if there was a nationwide economic collapse. And honestly, with our horrendously incompetent leaders in America, oh yeah, that seems more and more likely. Or maybe some of you are genuinely worried about the apocalypse. I mean, hey, there are no guarantees in life. No one has guaranteed us that everything will be smooth sailing for several more generations in America. So, getting out there, middle America, rural America, you got your own homestead, you got your own plot of land, grow your own food, raise your own livestock. You probably thought, well, it's going to be a lot of hard work, but it's going to be worth it. I can do this. Okay, this is the book for you. First of all, this is not a complete guide. No, I'm sorry. This is more like a very realistic, no-holds-barred primer on what you can expect if you're giving this subject serious consideration. This book, it's about 62 pages long. Here's my large size men's hand. As you can see, it's not that big, and again, not that thick. It does not go into a ton of detail regarding most subjects or topics associated with homesteading. But if you're someone new to this, if you're giving this serious consideration or even casual consideration, you need to read this book. There's 5 chapters, but basically 3 parts. And the beginning of the book and the middle of it deals with all of those bureaucratic, legal nonsense and BS that you will have to deal with if you want your own homestead. I mean, it's not like it was in the 1860s where you go out, you find a plot of land, you plant your flag, and it's like, this is my land, I'm going to grow what I want on it, weather permitting. I'm going to raise whatever livestock I want. This is going to be my home. This is America. We're going to do whatever the hell we want to do. No. Sorry, no. This book as thin as it is, does an absolutely excellent job of destroying that vision of what a homestead is. There are a shocking number of bureaucratic laws, rules, regulations that you will have to adhere to. Otherwise, state, local, and possibly even the federal government will shut down your homestead by basically fining you or arresting you, fining you so much that you can't afford the fines. I mean, it covers all of the most important things you'll have to legally deal with if you're serious about having your own homestead. For example, oh, you bought this plot of land over here. Well, that's wonderful. Sorry, that particular state where that plot of land is located, you're not even allowed to build a house, much less a barn, much less plant a garden. It's like, wait a minute, I just bought this property. It's mine. I can do whatever the hell I want with it. No, you can't. Sorry. America stopped being America quite a while ago in terms of homesteading. You can't just buy a plot of land, put up a house, put up a barn, start gardening, bring in livestock. No. In a lot of jurisdictions, you're also not allowed to have certain livestock. And sometimes when a plot of land is sold, there will be local laws that get in the way. Oh, you bought this large plot of rural land. That's great. You can only have horses as livestock. Not joking. And that's just one example. It's like, oh, so you bought this plot of land. Well, yes, you can have chickens on your property, but no roosters. No roosters. You're not allowed those. And it doesn't seem to make sense. But, keep in mind, this isn't the America it used to be. Sorry. This book, absolutely excellent job regarding laws, regulations, and all sorts of bureaucratic nightmares and hoops that you will have to jump through if you want to have a legal homestead in America. Sorry, that's just how it is. And that will dissuade a lot of people from setting up their homestead. It's like, what's the point of buying this land where the weather is good, the soil is good, you could plant on it? Oh, but the jurisdiction it's in says no. Absolutely not. No. Well, if you're dumb enough to plant on it anyway, your neighbors will snitch on you because they have nothing better to do. So enjoy the fines and possibly even jail time. I mean, this thing will destroy any fantasies that you have about being a sovereign citizen, about setting up your homestead and doing whatever the hell you want with it. No. There are a couple of chapters where the book does go into detail. Chapter 4 on gardening, There's quite a bit of detail on that. Not a ton. This is not a complete book despite the title. This is a primer for anyone remotely seriously interested about getting into homesteading. And as a primer, it works well. As a complete book, no. You're not going to find a section, for example, that teaches the best way to skin a rabbit for the cook pot, the best way to identify male baby chicks from female baby chicks. No. You're not going to find details on how to sew your own clothing. So this is definitely not a complete book. The title is misleading, but as a primer, as a basic introduction to homesteading, this is a really good book. So chapter 4 gets into detail about gardening. Chapter 5 gets into detail about livestock. And yeah, that's pretty much it. The beginning and middle of the book, all of those legal, jurisdictional, regulatory unpleasantness that you will have to deal with if you want to create your own homestead. And there's even a section on how to deal with neighbors, especially neighbors who perhaps the previous owner was perfectly fine letting them use a portion of his land for their homesteading. Yeah, apparently this is a lot more common. And here you are, you're coming in, you bought the land that belonged to the previous owner, and here come the neighbors saying, oh, by the way, Mr. Johnson let us use his northeast corner of land for our livestock. So I'm sure you'll let us use that as well, right? Well, no. And expect quite a bit of backlash. Thankfully, this book does give suggestions on how to deal with neighbors who feel as though they're entitled to use a portion of your newly purchased property because the previous owner, for whatever reason, was fine with them using part of his property. Another thing to deal with. But yeah, the start and the middle of the book, regulations, laws, neighbors, sometimes not so friendly ones, bureaucratic nightmares, how to deal with all of that. That's where the book really shines. You've got a fantasy about homesteading, about rugged individualism. This book will destroy it. Then there's the chapter on gardening, and then the chapter on livestock, both of which go into some detail regarding those two subjects. And that's the book. That's the book. This is definitely worth picking up. It's definitely worth a read. And yeah, I mean, for example, if you're single, you don't have a wife, you don't have multiple children, don't bother getting a homestead because you will probably drop dead day one trying to do everything yourself. Your best bet, if you're single and you want a homestead, abandon that fantasy. Try to somehow hook up with a family that already has a homestead. Maybe if you're someone with a valuable skill, a professional, maybe you're a doctor, maybe you're a skilled veterinarian, You might be able to barter your services for becoming a member of someone else's homestead. But yeah, this book definitely cleared one thing up for me. If you're single, unmarried, no children, forget it. There is way too much work involved for one person to try to run a homestead by themselves. Forget it. I mean, the notion of being completely self-sufficient for all of the important things in life, that is very tempting, very tempting. And there are some individuals who will be able to pull it off and some who won't. It's not just, okay, I got to put in a ton of hard work. No. This book made it very clear to me that sometimes you put in a ton of hard work and it's not good enough. Sometimes not good enough. Things will go wrong, sometimes horribly wrong. Is homesteading worth it? The author believes so, and so do I. But you've got to eliminate those ridiculous fantasies that homesteading is just about hard work and you'll instantly be successful. No. And this book definitely eliminates those fantasies. Absolutely worth picking up, absolutely worth reading if you are even mildly seriously considering getting a homestead of your own. All right, guys, that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed the video. Please stay safe out there. Sadly, yeah, it's still dangerous. I'll see you guys soon.